And then we might say, look, the way I see it is you have three options. What you could do is you could keep looking and keep looking and keep looking and keep looking and hope that some form of absolute perfect unicorn house shows up in some way, shape or form, and potentially put yourself into a situation that you have to re-sign a lease, or potentially put yourself into a situation that even when you do find something, it's going to be significantly more than this one. Alternatively, you could give up on the idea of owning a house in its entirety. You could rent it for the rest of your life. Or what you could do is take this house that we both know you love, that fits inside your budget, that will deliver you the kind of lifestyle that you're looking for your family. And out of those three options, which one do you think your future self is going to be most thankful for?
You're listening to the Not So Black and White Real Estate Podcast with your hosts, Sir Colin Campbell and Gary A. McGowan.
Good day, good day, good day. It's your host, Sir Colin Campbell, here with Gary A. McGowan, and you're tuned into the Not So Black and White Real Estate Podcast. And today we have a very influential person, someone who tells you exactly what to say and how to say it. The author, none other than Phil M. Jones.
Thank you for having me here. Like a big hyped up intro like that. This best not suck, right? This best not suck.
Wow, we started high.
We just need to keep it high now.
Okay, Phil, both Colin and I have seen you speak many times. Is it a true honor and pleasure to have you in person here, not only in Canada, but on the podcast. For those, and they must be hiding under a rock, that's all I can say. For those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about you in like 30 seconds.
Oh man, I've been in business since I was 14 years of age, been passionately looking to understand what's the difference between people that do good and the ones that really crush it. And in all the different arenas that I've worked in, is outside of hard work and hustle, I've learned that the difference between those that do good and the ones that do great are the ones that know exactly what to say, when to say it, and how to make it count. And I've built a career looking to learn how some people find the edge in many of life's critical moments. Written 11 best-selling books, spoken in 59 different countries, over 800 different industries, sold about 3 million books out in the world, and are committed to helping people make more of their conversations count.
So what I'm hearing is you're a big deal.
Nah, that's not what my household thinks.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, ask the kids.
There are times and moments I get to be a big deal.
So you still have to do the dishes and take out the trash.
Some of the time.
So before you got on, we were debating what soccer team you actually back. So let's hear it from
so I'm going, it's got to be a London team, yeah?
No. Why do we make these wild assumptions about people?
I told you Man U.
Right, I might not even like the sport.
It's true. It's very true, but we're going to still make the assumption.
So he's into cricket then.
Is the point I'd make is to stop making assumptions.
Fair enough. Okay, we're getting schooled already. I love it.
I like that. So are you into soccer?
Football.
Football.
Yeah, the game you play with your feet, right?
Yeah, football.
I played the sport as a kid. I enjoy the game. I was a Queen's Park Rangers fan as a
QPR.
child. I worked in professional soccer for some of my career, so I was head of retail and commercial director for Birmingham City Football Club and Leicester City Football Club. And when you see a game from the inside out, it changes some perspective. And
Interesting.
I then traveled the world. I now live in America. And as much as I love the sport, I'm not fanatical about anything, but I go to a game and have a good time. I'm just going to choose to back the team that either I like the jersey of most or whoever my buddy's supporting, particularly if he's buying the beer.
Hey, well said. There you have it, my friends. So
I can be bought, is what I'm saying.
I can be bought. There you have it. There you have it. I'm curious about that realization that you had, that when you see, I can't think of another phrase other than top performers or successful business people, what sets them apart. How did you determine it's what they're saying?
I was in leadership roles from a very early part of my life. So I was running big sales teams at 18, 19, 20, 21 years of age, where everybody was older. I couldn't command any respect. I was 18 and looked like I was 15 and got all the pushback. So anything I was trying to get anybody to take action on, I couldn't directly offer advice. So I started studying the other people around that were getting great results. And what I would say, for example, is I'd say, Colin, I know that one of the things you're looking to get better at is X, Y, and Z. And I've been watching what Gary's doing, and Gary's top of class. And there are 3 things that Gary does that are different to what you do. Would you like to know what those things are? And it became my leadership style, is I would offer advice through the proxy of what I'd learned from studying high performers. And that was the way that I could offer up ways that other people would do things. And then you start to see patterns. Because everybody thinks it's how much output you put and having the right mindset and good levels of product knowledge. And those are all important, but they're table stakes. There becomes a point where that's just what gets you in the game. It doesn't get you on the podium. And then you'd start to see, whether it was a leadership scenario or a sales scenario, that there would be overlapping sequences of words that just worked. They created brevity, or they allowed somebody to get to decision quicker. And the irony is, you learn more and more about this, is people try to create certainty in other people's circumstances by pushing their agenda, and it creates chaos. Whereas actually, if you learn to show up with chaos, the other person will help create your order. And that's just fascinated me for now, what is 20, 25 years worth of obsession around how words change worlds.
And one of the phrases, and this is just a little snippet about something that you taught me to say at one of your sessions that I was sitting in, is some of the things we say to our clients is, now you're creating more chaos. Quite usually that's the case, I find, right? And I'm sure that's why the book exists and things like that. One of the lines I now teach because of you and help with our agents is, when they have a client that is struggling with a decision, is most people in your shoes. How did you come up with that? I love how you phrase that, and it almost disarms people in a way. Is that the objective there? Or tell me a little bit about that backstory.
I mean, you're talking about the power of the label, most people.
Right.
And it is a technique called labeling. We live in a world that we try to say that we don't like labels, but could you imagine walking into a pantry full of items that aren't labeled and then being asked to prepare a meal quickly? It would be a challenge. So as much as we don't like labels, we don't like misappropriated labels. We don't like the abuse of labels. We don't like the mass kind of badging of labels. So most people is a label that can allow somebody to create an acceptance without it feeling like an absolute. A simple piece of advice I give to everybody listening right now, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, it's definitely ironic, is to never speak in absolutes. Because when you speak in absolutes, you create friction. If I said most people, well, that's easier to buy than everybody.
Right.
Ever been in a situation where somebody says to you, like, Colin, you always do this. And you're like, well, no, not always. Like yesterday, I put the toilet seat down. I did do it. I remember specifically that I did it. Or like, you never load the dishwasher correctly. And you're like, hang on, I got photo evidence. It was 2006. Look. So when you speak in absolutes, what happens is you create friction. When you can speak in anywhere in that grayscale, which is funny that we're on the Black and White podcast.
Not so black and white. So maybe we get that gray for you.
Yeah, we get so. So what it allows us to be able to do is to create numbers out of words. And play a game with me for a second. If there are 100 people in a room and I said most people, how many am I talking about?
I went to the 80-20 right away.
I went to 60.
Okay.
Okay, if I said many people, how many am I talking about?
65-ish.
50.
What if I said some?
10.
A handful?
Oh, a few.
5.
Almost everybody.
Oh,
99.
90.
Next to nobody.
Oh, 2.
1.
A good number.
Yeah.
99. Yeah, I got you.
But I gave
Yeah,
you
love
no
it.
numbers. I gave you no numbers and you found numbers. And that's the math sometimes that can exist in words. When you're looking for people to organize chaos, you can use words to create numbers that apply logic to emotional puzzles that allow people to make their mind up quicker. So most people is just an example of a label. But I gave you another 10, 12, 15 there that you could see how you could organize the thought in other people. And instead of everybody and nobody and always and never, and like my favorite is favorite. I mean, one of the hardest questions to ever answer. People do this on podcasts. Is like what was your top takeaway, or what was your favorite, or what was your number one, or what is your best? And you're like, are you kidding me? How are you supposed to rationalize every thoughtful thought you've ever had in your whole life, organize those thoughts, sequence the list, and tell you the number one, and be honest? You're going to lie. So we'll do it in the session here in a short while. I won't ask people what their top takeaway is. I won't ask them what their ahas are. I'll say, what is something that maybe is bubbling around towards the front of your mind that you're thinking about, maybe executing inside your business or inside your life? What is something you're thinking that you're definitely going to take action?
I like it. I like it. Colin, as we wrap up here, what do you got for Phil?
Well, what I'm hearing is Phil's secret to success is first started with pattern recognition.
Sure.
And this is me putting it into a box so that I can understand it.
Yep.
Pattern recognition, pattern utilization. This is how the most successful people are doing it. Now, where does pattern creation come in? Where now you're creating the patterns. You're no longer looking at some of the most successful people. You're looking at it as this is the formula and this will create success.
I think in and all of that becomes something that doesn't get talked about often enough, which is obsession. Where do you become obsessed about something that you think and feel about it to a ridiculous level beyond more than anybody else could believe is possible? And the reason that most people get to any level of success when you really dissect is that they found an obsession on it that was unhealthy. It's like beyond the realms of being okay. So how do you then take something that you have interest and knowledge and then obsession about and then turn it into something that you can share with others? Well, the way I think about it is music. There becomes a point in your life where you're like, I like music. Then I like to listen to music. Then I like to buy music. Then you might like to go to some shows and see music being performed. And then what you might think is, I wonder if I could make music. And you hit conscious incompetence pretty darn quickly, right? You're like, dang, I'm not good enough to be able to do this. And then you mess around and you're like, okay, that's a note, that's a note, that's a note. Then maybe you take some lessons and you learn to be able to perform a song or two. And now you think you're a musician. And then you meet a musician and you realize you're not a musician. You know how to play chopsticks on the piano. So then your competence level changes again because the ceiling gets raised up. So what you then look to be able to do is you say, well, hold on. I now need to learn how to understand how these notes become scales. And then I need to learn how to play multiple different songs. And then you need to start to be able to say, well, now I can compose. And then you start to say, well, what's it like to play jazz? But you've got to go through all of those different lessons. And before you can break the rules, you've got to know the rules. Before you can learn something new, you often have to unlearn something old. And what people have learned to talk about with All Things Exactly What to Say is it's like learning a new language. People are like, I read the book. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. Well done. You read a book that takes you an hour to read. Bravo. And they'll tell me things like, I took all the sequences of words, I put them into one email. What do you think? And I'm like, oh my God. That's just inside voice. It's like taking the contents of a Las Vegas all-you-can-eat buffet, putting it in a smoothie maker and expecting it to taste good. It's not going to come out great. So what you're looking to be able to get to is to understand method. And what we've managed to now distill down within Exactly What to Say is a method that people can apply to almost any given conversation. And the book's here, like, let's make it fun. Put me on the spot. What is any scenario that you might be looking to influence or persuade anybody to do anything? Give me something.
I'm indecisive whether to buy this house and I need words of encouragement to take action.
Okay, so this is an indecisive buyer that is 60, 80% towards there, but they're laced in uncertainty and nervousness.
Yes.
I would take the book and I would say one sequence of words at a time. Look, I'm not sure if it's for you, but like how open-minded would you be to learning how others in your scenario would approach a situation like this? They're like, yeah, I'm up for it. I'm like, well, what do you know about the potential consequences of waiting and not moving forward with this? And they're like, I got no idea. I'd say, well, how would you feel if somebody else was living in this house that wasn't you? I'd be like, man, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, well, just imagine the difference that you could make for your family if you had to find some courage to be able to move forward with this on this time. I'd say, well, look, when would be a good time for us to be able to start working on the offer? And I'm guessing you haven't got around to sending across your proof of funds yet. And we'd look at any simple swap that could show up in that area. Or people in this world, there are those that think that something is a good idea and those that take action on the ideas that they know are right for them. And I bet you're a bit like me. That what you'd rather do is you'd rather live forward and fail forward and be responsible for your own actions and your own discipline than leave a game to chance. And if you're serious about home ownership, then there's a strong possibility that this is the right home for you. Don't worry, you're bound to be nervous right now. Most people in your situation would definitely be nervous and second guessing at this given point in the transaction. The good news is this is perfectly normal, and the reason that you work with an experienced professional real estate agent like me is to help you navigate these next steps more freely. So what happens next is that we prepare the offer, we present it to the listing agent, and after us putting our best foot forward, we cross our fingers and hope that that first move gets us the move that we're looking for. They say, well, is that all it takes? You say, well, really? What makes you say that? They say, well, I'm still a little nervous, like, around that at this time. Like, well, look, before you make your mind up, would it help if you understood the consequences of waiting? They're like, yeah, I'm sure it would. And you then say, well, look, if I can show you what is likely to happen to real estate prices if you don't make a move now, then will you feel more confident in your decision today? They're going to say, yeah, sure. I'm going to say, well, do you think we've done enough? They're like, yeah, we've done more than enough. I'm going to be like, hey, just one more thing. You couldn't do me a small favor, could you? They're like, yeah, sure, what's up? I'm like, well, could you think of maybe just one person that is also nervously thinking about considering potentially making a move right now? And just out of curiosity, exactly who was it you were thinking? But all I did is just run the book through one scenario you gave me on
And
the spot.
that is it, guys. That is why you need to pick up this book and learn from one of the best in the industry, Phil M. freaking Jones. That was brilliant.
And what you should see is that's me just playing scales. That's all that is. That's me playing scales through a known moment or scenario.
Phil, I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time, actually. Yeah, quite a long time. It's a thrill to have you here in Canada. Thank you for being on our podcast. Remind us of your Instagram handle, because I know that's where I follow you. Many other people should as well.
If you want to continue the conversation, let us know that we were in the Not So Black and White podcast. Come find me at Phil M. Jones UK, and we can continue the conversation from there.
Beautiful.
Excellent. That's Phil M. Jones. Of course, that's Sir Colin Campbell. I'm Gary McGowan. We'll see everybody in the next episode. Goodbye for now.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to click the subscribe button so new episodes will automatically be downloaded to your device. Please help us reach more people by leaving a rating and a review on your podcast player of choice. Now go make it an amazing day for somebody.